Hello and welcome to our Christmas edition of Interviews Unedited. On today's show, all Christmas related interviews because all these artists have Christmas music out right now. So on today's show, we have interviews with Luke Spiller from the Struts, Skillet, Hayley Sales, Chloe Stroll and Aaron Paley. So without further ado, let's kick off with our first interview with Luke Spiller of the Struts. So Luke, how are you?
Very well. Just woke up about 20 minutes ago. Feeling good, feeling fresh.
Ready and raring to go for the day.
Exactly.
Now we're having this little chat because you have released a cover of Slade's Merry Christmas, Everybody. Tell us a bit about you putting your own rendition on a festive classic.
Yeah, it kind of started earlier this year, as most Christmas one songs do, like during the summer, actually. And I was asked very sort of like randomly to sort of do a version of the song for reasons that were completely unrelated to what would finally become my own release. And yeah, I just sort of felt that it would be really interesting to approach it very, very differently. And very quickly, I sort of soon became very inspired to sort of tie it into everything that I'd done solo wise. And that meant sort of having strings and having it like a little bit more played down and it came out really, really cool. And I loved it, and I really pushed for it to be released. And here we are, ended up pulling it off. A really lovely way to tie up like what's been a really great year for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a busy one for you deciding to start releasing music under your own name. What got you to the point where you decided to do stuff for yourself rather than with the Struts?
It was probably after the third album, and that's when I first sort of like started thinking about the possibility of doing that. And it was during kind of lockdown. I was in Devon. This is my Dawlish bowling club shirt. And I was there for quite a while, and I was sort of renting a cottage. And yeah, I just sort of was writing all of these songs, which I really believed in, and I thought they were great. But I knew in my heart of hearts the concept of doing like a piano driven album which had strings was going to be maybe a bit of a hard sell to the group. And so I just sort of patiently waited. I carried on continuing to make music with the band, and ended up putting out our fourth album, Pretty Vicious. And when that was kind of said and done, I then approached the label I was on at the time and presented them with like a whole bunch of songs that I'd written for what I thought was going to be my solo album, and they, gladly they sort of agreed and found it really exciting. So that was the crux of it.
Yeah, nice. And what's it like writing and releasing music under your own name, especially the writing side of things, when you know that you don't have other people to have their input on?
Yeah, I think it's a really beautiful thing. It obviously came with a few sort of like growing pains with like the dynamic and the group and whatnot. But in all honesty, it's kind of brought the band closer together, and it means that I can sort of like wear these two hats, so to speak, which I think in the past, if I was to have written a song that was more kind of solo leaning, I would have just sort of like, you know, kind of frustratingly have had to put it to one side because it wouldn't be sort of right for what the band like needed or wanted. But now I have this like brilliant opportunity where I can sit down, and if I'm inspired, I can write something really introspective and sort of like heartfelt and personal. And then when I wake up, like today, and I'm like full of beans, and I sort of want to make something that is like really joyous and uplifting and upbeat, I can sort of put my Struts hat on. So as a creative, it's been really liberating.
Nice. And obviously now you've been writing for both yourself and the Struts. When it comes to the writing side of things, are you one for writing at that point for a specific project, or is it a case of writing in general and then working out where it will fit down the line?
No, I kind of know, like even before like it's kind of written, so to speak, whether it's the title or a set of lyrics, I just kind of know. I'm just like, this is very Luke Spiller, and then I'll sort of read something else and be like, no, this is very Struts. So it's not it's not kind of like premeditated, but it becomes fairly obvious very quickly, like which hat I need to put on, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and when it comes to the writing side of things, what is it that normally kicks things off for you?
I think with the band stuff, it's usually lyrics that kind of come second, and I like to match a lyric and a message with like the energy of the music. That kind of informs that side of writing. But with my own stuff, it's usually the opposite. It's like I will write poems or sort of like very pretentious like verses, if you want to call them that. And I sort of sit with them for a long time until they read really well, just out loud. And what usually happens is at some point I just end up sitting alone and I look at those lyrics and then the music kind of like comes after the lyric is done. And then I'm like, oh wow, there's like a song here. And it feels really nice and it feels like I'm staying true to the original blueprint of the song. So those are the kind of the main differences.
Hmm. And is it quite straightforward to layer up the tracks if you're starting kind of melody, lyrics, and then the instrumentation underneath? Is it quite straightforward to layer it up?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends kind of what I'm going for. If the solo stuff is the angle in which I'm working on, I can live with like an acoustic guitar or piano and vocal for like a very long time, as long as like the melody is right and there's like a rough arrangement. But it just depends. Like some of the songs on the solo record were like 20-piece string section and like drums, bass, like kind of soft rock, electric light orchestra, kind of spaces in rock. But the band is more of like a unanimous collective like effort where we'll take ideas to each other, we'll jam them out, we will sort of like tweak it, build, kind of like more of like an old-fashioned sort of approach to it. So they're two very different approaches.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you've been busy over the last couple of months, I believe, on the road. You've still got some more shows, including one tonight, I believe. How have the shows been going down?
Yeah, the show's been great. I mean, the year itself has been really eventful, like celebrating 10 years of Everybody Wants has been a beautiful thing, and that was a truly great tour. And then I had a little bit of time off with the guys writing, and then I embarked on my first solo tour, which was breathtaking. Like I had no idea what to expect. I obviously purposely played a lot of venues that are way smaller than the band, but I was kind of very pleasantly surprised to sort of see how they turned out, and it was just a piano, acoustic guitar, and my voice. So it was very different, but a real growing experience and really, really inspiring. Really inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. Did it feel different knowing that you weren't up there with your mates like you have been before?
Yeah, it did actually. I mean, I was talking to my folks about it afterwards. It's like even the little things like meeting the fans or, you know, doing sort of the meet and greet aspect of the show day. it's quite funny. I normally have like three other guys to sort of like bounce off of, and you sort of feed off each other's energy. But with the solo stuff, it was like, yeah, you're just kind of like there on your own, and like that was a bit odd and surreal. But I think it's been really good for me. It's been a good experience to sort of learn how to really stand on my own 2 feet and deliver something to the audience that they not only like appreciate, but it's like a completely different side to my performance style as well, which it can never that's never a bad thing. You know, it just helps you grow and makes you even better. But yeah, I got the last two shows here in LA. I got one later today and then one tomorrow. And then I break off to fly back to the UK for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to a good English pint, you know?
Yeah, I bet you don't. I bet you miss being back over here when you're spending all that time in the States.
Yeah, I mean, I just got back from Seattle, for instance, like yesterday, and we had a rescheduled show, the band, and it was like this really moody, like rainy weather, and you know what? It was quite refreshing. It was nice just to sort of like wear a nice big trench coat and a jumper and a scarf and sort of have that. It was the first time I felt like it was actually approaching Christmas, you know, like right now I'm in LA and there's not a cloud in the sky, and don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but it can sort of leave you in this sort of uh season limbo, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And obviously, talking of shows, you've got a few things in the diary at the moment, both solo and back with the Struts again. What is 2026 gonna hold for you?
2026 right now is sort of still in its stages of like really planning. Like you said, we only have like a very small amount of things that we've we've dedicated to. We really want to get in and record and make a really fantastic album, and there's some amazing ideas floating around. There's sort of like this, I can't go into too much detail, but there's this kind of larger concept that I'm working on, which is going to accompany the music, just to sort of really give the immediate fan base something that they can really sink their teeth into and get really excited about. And of course, I'm going to be working on my own stuff as well. Honestly, we'll just have to wait and see. We want to get this fifth album as good as it possibly can without feeling the pressure of like having to go out just for the sake of it. So for the first time in a long time, we're actually going to take a little bit of a moment to possibly not as tour as much, but like really deliver a great collection of songs.
Good. Yeah, that's great to hear. And we've been chatting for well over 10 years now since your infancy. How have you grown and how have the band evolved over those years?
Gosh, it's kind of hard to put into a few sentences, but it's quite funny watching everybody sort of grow in their own aspects, like in their musical and personal lives. I think we should all be like incredibly proud of what we've achieved, and I think it's quite funny. We sort of look at each other and we're like, oh, you know, we've been going for 15 years, 10 years with the first album, but in many ways we're just getting started. And I feel like that is a group feeling that we all have, and we're just sort of ready to keep running out there for another 10. But yeah, I'd say we're like a bit more mature now, you know, to say the least.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Luke Spiller of The Struts. Now, we are all over social media, so come and find us at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. You can also check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk. So while you go and check us out on the socials and give us some follows, we've got our next Christmas interview from John of the band Skillet. They have released their first ever Christmas track, and we had a chat with John all about it. So John of Skillet, how are you?
Good. How's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks so much. So, for the first time ever, you've decided to release a Christmas song, O Come, O Come, Emmanuel. Tell us a bit about the track you've decided to do your own rendition of.
Yeah, man. It's holiday time. I hope you guys are enjoying it over there, man. We just got off the road about 7 days ago. No more shows for the rest of the year, so I've been eating way too many cookies. Anyway, so we're in holiday mode over here. Skillet is. Our fans started asking us about a year and a half ago, when are you guys going to do a Christmas song? And at first I was like, I don't think we'd be good at doing a Christmas song. What do you mean? But we had so many fans asking us, we thought, well, maybe we should try one. And so we talked about it early this year. And so my wife, Corey, who is Skillet's producer and guitar player, one of our guitar players, she started working on this track. And I didn't know what I knew she was working on something, but I didn't know what it was. And then she's like, all right, this is a little out of the box. Tell me if you like it. And she said, this is our Christmas track. And I went nuts. I just thought it was so awesome. It's her favorite Christmas song. It was her brainchild. And so she crushed it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Christian values that you have at the core of your music, how come it's taken you so long to actually do a Christmas song?
Yeah. I don't know. I never thought about it like a rock Christmas version, that's not something that's been done a ton in rock. And of course it is in pop music, but I don't know why. It just never really hit me. I didn't know if we'd even be good at it, but I think for me, I thought she cracked the code. She did a great job of making it. I think both, probably the more a lighter side of Skillet, one of the lighter sides we've ever done, and then I think probably one of the heavier sides we've ever done, all in one song. So I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's been just over a year now since your 12th record, Revolution, came out. How has it gone down with the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's been a year already. Yeah, it's gone really well for us, and we traveled, during that year. Of course, we came to see you guys. We went to South America. We went to the Middle East. We went to Canada. It's just been crazy. It's been such a busy year, and I keep thinking we're going to slow down, but we're not. We're never slowing down. And next year is Skillet's 30th anniversary, which I cannot believe because I don't feel old enough for that, but I suppose I am. And it's amazing. One of the things we're seeing that's really exciting is that rock music in general is growing. So there's kind of a resurgence. I don't mean just Skillet, just the genre. Lots of young people are discovering metal for the first time, and that's really super cool. And so because of that, we have a lot of new fans. They're commenting online. They're like, oh my gosh, I just heard this song Monster. I love it. It's my new favorite song. And for us, I'm like, oh my word, that's 15 years old. And it's just a really exciting time. So Skillet's popularity is growing, consistent with rock music growing. And so I don't think we're going to slow down anytime soon. We're going to come see you guys next year again.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on a few things I was going to ask you about. So let's touch on 30 years next year since the debut record came out. You've obviously got some touring planned. Is there anything special in the works?
There's nothing special for 30 years, like a 30-year concert or like a specific thing. We should do something like that. For about 6 months, we've been saying we should do something, but nobody's come up with anything good yet. So if we do, I will let you know. But we need to do something. The funny thing is that because we have so many new fans over the last 5 years, a lot of the younger fans, they can't wrap their head around us being around for 30 years. So whenever I've said it on a few interviews, 30 years next year, you see these comments like, what? How old are you guys? And I'm like, 35. Don't ask. Anyway, it's kind of a funny thing, but we are going to be releasing new music. Lord willing, we're working on it now. We have a couple songs finished already. So I'm kind of hoping that next year will be the release of new music that will, be a nice 30-year kind of, I don't know, starting over. Let's start over again. Release new music. Feel like a young person again. Releasing songs that you love and songs that you believe in. Singing about things that you care about. That's what I
Mm.
hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure with 12 records out there, I think every year is going to be an anniversary for one of them in some regard.
That's probably true. Every year. This is the 10th year since the single. Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Now you have, like you've said, just come off a tour, and you've got a little bit of a break before you're heading back out on tour again. From the end of February for a fair few months across the States, back here as well. Bet you can't wait to be back on the road again?
I'm actually I'm right now enjoying having a little time off. Like Friday, I don't know when this interview exactly is coming out, but Friday night we're having our annual Lord of the Rings marathon, so like my nieces and nephews come over because my kids are a little older now, so we host all the little nieces and nephews, and the kids come over and they're like super nerdy about Harry Potter, so they have like the butterbeer recipes, so they like make the food. So it's like you eat the Harry Potter cookbook stuff, and you watch the films. And so we actually, I'm sorry, I just mixed Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter together. We already did some of the Harry Potter stuff. Now we're moving to Lord of the Rings, but everything is like thematic. So people will wear like it's pretty nerdy. They'll wear their outfits. So we do this stuff annually. In America, of course, we have a Thanksgiving holiday that sort of begins this movie time for us when we're home. So now we're moving into the holiday stuff, which is really fun, family oriented. We have a lot of the younger nieces and nephews, and because they're still at an age where it's like all Christmas magic to them. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to now. And then come January 2. We will begin working on new music again, because a lot of the music industry shuts down for about 2 weeks, and we have a song ready to be mixed. And so we're going to get that new song mixed, and like I say, Lord willing, release it next year early, I hope. So,
Yeah.
knock on wood or whatever they say.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'll touch on new music in a sec, but because we're on the touring side of things at the moment, you've got dates booked until July at the moment. But at that point, we're into festival season. What's your plan for festivals next year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure because we are doing, well, I am sure about a little bit. We are doing this, killer European, UK tour in April and May, and it is selling so well. I'm blown away because we released it. We don't usually release it 5 months in advance. It's like the most on top of anything and we've ever been. I haven't planned my 30-year anniversary yet, but I have planned that Europe tour. And it's going really, really well. And I'm so excited. And I do hope to be playing a little bit of new music then. After then, we do come back to America for a stint in which we will be doing American festivals and fair dates and all that kind of stuff. But I think we will be doing more overseas things after the end of summer as well. So right now, that's all kind of coming together and looking to be kind of quite a busy year. But this European tour it's going to be longer than we usually do as well. So I just can't believe how many new fans we have in those markets, and we're playing new markets as well. Spain, Portugal, we've never played, so we're adding in some new dates. And then, of course, coming back to, the places we need to.
Yeah, like here.
Like you, man. That's right.
And you touched on the new music side of things as well. How's it sounding at the moment? And do you know the direction that I guess the new record's going to take?
Yeah, I mean, we are in the middle of that now. Sometimes you don't want to speak too early because things can change in the studio. You're sure it's going to be one thing, and then all of a sudden it starts, But that kind of happened a little early this time, and so I feel like I can share a little bit. The Christmas song that we did experiment with some of the new things that we were already trying in some of our newer music, and it's been kind of fun because it's been a bit of a Skillet's been around for so long. We've had so many different sounds and things we've tried. We have a lot in the arsenal, so you can kind of pull out something that maybe you hadn't done in a little while and try to make it fresh again. And that's kind of what we did on this Christmas song on the really heavy parts. There's some more like metal, aspects to that I don't think we've done anything that heavy since like 2003 maybe. And that was really fun, getting to do some of the really low tunings again. And we've always done a little bit of it, but we kind of went overboard. And that's because we're kind of going a little bit that direction on the new stuff as well. Also, what's kind of cool with this resurgence of metal is, like, for people that have seen Skillet live, they may or may not recognize, I don't know. Skillet live, we have more touches. I don't mean we're overboard prog, but we have some touches of prog metal in our set, more than we do on our records. And some of that is because as music shifts and changes, some of the younger fans weren't really understanding that stuff 10 years ago. It just wasn't in their wheelhouse. We did a touch of that at the very end of a song, one of our songs called The Resistance. The Resistance ends with this like prog rock kind of jam session, and our fans loved it. But we're having a little bit more of that in our live show, and so now we're able to bring some of that. We did it in O Come, O Come Emmanuel, and we're doing some of that in the new music as well. And I'm like, why not? It's 30 years. We need to come out with a bang and show people that we're still as young. We're still as young as we used to be, ish, sort of.
Well, you are 35, so
that's right, 35. That's not old, brother. We're just getting started, man.
Exactly. And I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
It's funny because me and my wife are a pretty good team. She starts off usually with music, and she's a very kind of like, in her words, she's got to feel the vibe. That would be her terminology. So she'll craft a track that is really, really good. I don't know how to do that. That is not my thing. I just do guitar riffs and I sing. And I usually like to start with melody. I'll just be like, oh, I got this vocal hook. And the hook is like, I feel like a monster. That's all I have, really. And I have a riff. And then we go from there. So it's kind of a good mix because she's this is a joke because we don't sound anything like Metallica, but I usually say I'm like Metallica and she's like The Cure, and it kind of comes together, but she's always on the cutting edge of music. She's the one that will introduce me to things that I had not heard of in the past. A few years ago, she's like, oh, I love this band Sleep Token. At that time I didn't know Sleep Token because all I do is listen to Metallica and AC/DC in the gym, and Skid Row, and like metal from when I grew up. And so she's always on the cutting edge of newer stuff because she's a producer. And she produces outside of Skillet as well. So that's a pretty good mix. And because I'm very melody hook driven. And I'm also lyric driven. I like a lyric that I feel is going to connect with somebody, going to help them through a bad day, because that's what music did for me and does for me. It helps me during those hard times. When I wake up, I want to hear some music. When I go to the gym, I need to hear some music. Nobody can go to the gym without music. That's written in the Bible. You can't go to the gym without rock and roll. It's like, it just doesn't work. And that's kind of how I experience metal and rock.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with John of the band Skillet to talk about his new Christmas track and more. Now, if you are listening to us on Spotify, then you'll be pleased to hear we also have a Spotify playlist. It's called Fresh, and it brings you 150 brand new up-and-coming artists that we feel like you might just enjoy yourselves. And if you want to check that out, head to the website and click on the Fresh playlist button, or search on Spotify for Fresh by the Sounder Lab. So while you go and find the playlist to listen to a little later on, we've got our next interview from Hayley Sales. Not only has she been releasing Christmas music this month, but she is also an actress too, and we had a chat with her all about it. So Hayley Sales, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing good. We had a blizzard last night, and the internet still works, so life is good.
Positives. I like it.
Positives, yeah.
I can see the snow out the window as well, I think. So, yeah. That's really nice for this time of year.
I'm not going anywhere today. Let's just say that. I'm stuck.
Stay
Cabin
home, stay
fever
warm.
commence. Yeah.
Sounds
thanks
like
for
a good
having me.
plan. But yeah, pleasure is all mine. And we're having a little chat because you've not just released one Christmas track, but 3, one of which will play after this, A Holiday Affair. Tell us a bit about your releases.
Oh, well, okay. So when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Christmas. I was the elf, right? My parents didn't have money. So, for instance, we'd have no presents under the tree. I'd go to the pantry, pull out the cans of tuna and the cereal boxes, and I'd wrap them for presents. I love Christmas. We just finished an album actually of originals. So this year we thought we'd put some of them out, and a holiday affair I wrote last year when I was in a bit of a funk to try and get myself out of it. I wanted to write a song that just reminded you that anything's possible. So,
Nice.
yeah. And we got to produce it. We recorded everything live, the way like old school. I just love that when you just do it right on the floor with the band.
Yeah, nice. And as much as I want to keep talking about music, which we'll get more onto shortly, we'll stick to the Christmas theme at the moment because you're in a Christmas movie. You're in a few Christmas movies, but here in the UK, one's just coming out on Netflix, A Sprinkle of Christmas. Tell us a bit about that and the Christmas movies you've been in.
Oh, it was that movie was so fun. We filmed A Sprinkle of Christmas in 11 days. I did not sleep the entire time, but the director Nicholas and my co-star Marshall, we had the best time, and they let us kind of improvise on the script, which is rare and really fun. But the best part about that movie was we started filming it up in Kelowna on the top of a mountain, and it had just closed down for the season. And there was nowhere to eat. Like we were literally stranded on the top of this mountain. It had a very camp, like summer camp kind of vibe. It was fun. So yeah, it just came out on Netflix, and we had 2 songs. I had 2 songs in it, which was very exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll mention acting again a little bit later on, but let's stick to the music side of things. And I like to find out a bit about the writing process. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
Usually I always joke that I can't write a song, like it writes itself, but I'll not be thinking about writing a song, and I'll be driving or trying to fall asleep or doing something totally different, and a melody will kind of pop into my head. And for a holiday affair, for instance, I was on a run, and I just started like, I'm like, ooh, that's fun. So I went home, and I sat at my piano that's in my bedroom, and started to figure out, like, it's kind of piece by piece for me, where you can feel if the words don't fit the melody and the feel of the song. So you just sit there until it does. And with that one, I just wrote it all in one go the night before New Year's, actually. And
Nice.
yeah, I feel like every songwriter is so different. For me, it's very much I write the songs that need to come out. I'm not a good actor. Like I'm not good at. I wish I could, sit down in a room with other writers for an artist and pen the song they want. But for me, it's what needs to come out at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Is it quite straightforward when it comes to combining kind of the melody and the musical side of things to the lyrics, or is that a bit of a challenge at times?
It can be. For me, I feel like you just have to wait until it feels perfect. Because I do think that's so important, and it's kind of overlooked that the lyrics and the melody should feel as though you can't separate them. For me, the hardest part is figuring out the chords, because I've always said, like, my voice far exceeds my piano skills. So I have to, like, I'll figure it all out and then figure out the basic chords and then elaborate and, take them into those major 7 diminished ninth, whatever they becomes. I don't actually know what they are when I write them, and then I send them to my co-producer, and he tells me what I'm playing. Like, oh, that's a cool chord. I didn't know that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
nice.
for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously looking towards next year now in 2026, what is the plan for you? What have you got kind of in the diary at the moment?
Oh, so much, I hope. We finished my studio album Till the End, which is similar to the Christmas album in the way it's produced and whatnot, all originals. And actually one co-write with Sharon Stone. That's the only co-write. Very steamy little number. And so we'll release that, and we have the full-length Christmas record the night before that'll come out next year. And yeah, I've been sitting on them for a while, just, the music industry, the ups and downs, and very, very much looking forward to it, to finally getting it out. And, they say timing's everything, so patience is key.
No, yeah, absolutely. And the sound of the music that you've got coming next year, Is it the sound you kind of wanted, or is it kind of how it turned out as you were writing and recording it?
So that's a really fascinating question. It is the sound I have wanted to, when I've heard the songs in my head, it is the sound I have dreamed of since I was 5. I fell in love with the 1940s as a little girl, was convinced I was going to marry Gene Kelly, obsessed with Judy Garland and, Billie Holiday and that entire era. And I signed with Universal really young. I was 16, and I went into a kind of Jack Johnson surf rock vibe, which is totally great. It served the time, and I love that too. But I remember going back to them on my 3rd record and saying, this is what I want to do. And at the time they said, okay, bye. So this is definitely like my heart on a musical platter.
Yeah, nice. Does that mean it's kind of a contrast to the records and the sound of your tracks that you've put out previously, or is it similar in some ways?
In some ways, yeah. If you listen to the stuff when I was, again, a teenager, my mom always joked, she said, you must be the best actor on the planet. You've convinced everyone you're mellow. And, in a way she was right, because as authentic as they were to me at the time, they were very light, and they, I just gotten over an eating disorder actually. And so my voice was very condensed. Like I could only do certain things. Whereas when I was younger and where I am now, it's all out. Like I love to belt, and I kind of go wherever I want with my voice. And at the time, it was just a smaller version. We'll just say it was condensed. But yeah, it's pretty different than what you've heard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. And when it comes to the touring side of things, are you hoping to be doing shows next year?
Non-stop. The stage is and always will be where it's the one place my mind stops moving and I can just be present. My whole life have adored the stage, and so there's nothing I look forward to more. I would do a show every day for the rest of my life. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Good. Are you hoping to come over this way as well to the UK?
Definitely. I love the UK. I'm ready to be adopted. Will you adopt me? I spent 5-6 months there last year, and I didn't want to leave. So the plan is to get over there again as soon as I can.
Good. We'll be glad to have you back. And obviously, we touched on the the acting side of things a little bit earlier on, but you combine both acting and music throughout your career. Do you have a preference of which route you prefer more, or are they both preferences to you?
Another good question. I would have to say music and performing. If you were, Hayley, you get to choose one for the rest of your life. Having said that, it's pretty hard to say because there's a very different element of me that gets to be expressed through acting, where you get to put away yourself. Because with me, at least with music, it is me. Like there's no barrier, no armor. It's just I'm out there. If you don't like it, then you don't like me. Whereas with acting, you get to really go into someone else's story. And if you're worth your salt as an actor, actually become that person and walk in those shoes. So in some ways it's really inspiring for the music acting, because you just get exposed to all these different ways of living life and experiencing emotion and whatnot. So yes, it would be music and performing on stage. I'm actually writing a musical screenplay, so that is like long-term goal. To combine them is a very exciting prospect.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Hayley Sales to talk about Christmas, music and more. Now, if you are loving today's interviews, then you can hear them once again in an edited form alongside their new singles, alongside a load of other new tracks for Christmas and a live session too on our international radio show that brings you some of the best new music around, and it is a Christmas special this week as well. So head to the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, and click International Radio Shows to find out all about those shows that we do, including the one with these interviews on. So while you go and find it to listen to later on, of course, what a busy day you're going to have. We've got our next interview from Chloe Stroll. She's just re-released her Christmas track this year, and she has been busy releasing her debut record this year too. So Chloe Stroll, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad. So after this interview, we'll be playing your Christmas single. Got It All is the name of the track. Tell us a bit about it, first of all.
Well, I'm a huge sucker for the holidays. Really anything to celebrate, I'm a big sucker for, but especially the holidays. So I I love upbeat, kind of like make you want to dance in your bathroom and around the kitchen, baking cookies, that kind of vibe. So I reflected at the time, I reflected a lot on my life and what I was thankful for and what I was excited about. And at the end of the day, I really find that the holidays, no matter what it's about, it's really just about being with your family or your friends and the people that you love. And that's the essence of the song.
Yeah, nice. And you released it initially last year, I believe, and you've re-released it again this year. What was the reason behind kind of putting it out 2 years in a row?
Well, I think last year it was awesome and it was really fun, but this year it probably had a different meaning where, I had obviously finished the song and we had done everything and released it right before I had my son. And this year, my son is very much in our lives and it's a totally different feeling. And I guess the song has changed. It hasn't changed its meaning, but there's an addition to it now. So I thought, that was a really fun way to kind of re-release it.
Nice. Yeah, nice. And you've had a busy year as well. We've been playing a whole bunch of your tracks because you've released your debut album. For those who've not had chance to hear it yet, tell us a bit about the release.
So my debut album, Bloom in the Break, it's been, so far my kind of years and lifetime of writing songs, of really channeling in different aspects of me. I wanted the album to feel really vulnerable and relatable and really make you feel like you're not alone as you're walking through life. And I took a lot of different aspects of what I've experienced and what I think other people have in, completely different ways, whether it's heartbreak, whether it's, you stubbed your toe and you're sad, to you lost your dog, to also happy moments like we grew our family. But I think that, you can relate to that if you walk down the street and see Christmas lights. I think that, so drawing in on kind of all the emotions that I think is life is a roller coaster and just making you really feel not alone. That was my big inspiration and my North Star for the album.
Good, good. And the sound that you made with the records, is it the sound you wanted or is it kind of how it turned out in the studio?
It was definitely, it was the sound I wanted, but it was not as planned as I guess in my head I expected it to be. I never thought that songs like Hurricane would merge with songs like Home. It wasn't really that. And I think, I had written over 70 songs. I had so many different genres and things to choose from. And in the end, I really narrowed down what I wanted to say and what message I wanted to convey, and went through them one by one. So it took different turns and different obstacles to get there, but it was a really fun journey.
Good, good. And you mentioned that you had over 70 songs. You obviously didn't get them all onto your record. So what happens to those other ones now? Do you consider them again down the line, or is it a case of starting afresh when the time comes?
No, 100%. I'll consider them. There's definitely still songs that I love that I wish could have made the album, but didn't contribute to the right message that I wanted that album to share. So definitely, hopefully in the future they'll be released.
Yeah, is there ones that you've not released that are real standout ones that we're definitely going to see the light of day at some point?
There's ones that I hope will. I guess I'm always a person that's like, never say never. You don't know what's going to happen in life. And, I have ideas for another record and we'll see if the time is right for them. But you never really know what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
Tracks start off different. I think every track is different. I really do love to be vulnerable enough that I write from a very emotional place. So I think it depends on the day. If I'm feeling really inspired, I love the piano. It's my favorite instrument. So if I kind of sit at the piano and there's a particular note that I'm really feeling, I'll try and either build a kind of melody around it, and add lyrics later. But my usual way is I feel like I like to start with lyrics. I always loved writing classes in literature when I was a kid, and all growing up. So I definitely love to start with lyrics and kind of go from there, like see what sentiments are drawn out.
Yeah, nice. And when you've got those lyrics, the ones you want to use, how easy or how straightforward is it to layer up the track with all the instrumentation underneath it?
I find that it's easier for me where I think that there's always a note or something that just really portrays exactly what I want it to feel like. And you know, I've worked with some really amazing collaborators, and I think that collaborating with people also kind of helps because it can, you know, when you do stuff that's very emotional and vulnerable, I find that you can spin into a dark hole very quickly, and sometimes you need outside perspective. So I think, you know, it's really fun to watch it all come together. But I do find that if I start with lyrics and find the one or two notes that I'm like, wow, that's exactly how that feels, that's where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. And obviously, with your debut record out there now, you'll be wanting to do some shows, I'm sure. What's your plan for 2026 and doing stuff on the road?
We're currently in the process of talking about it. I would love to do some shows, you know, and I'm really hoping that there's some fun things that we're planning for 2026.
Nice. Are you hoping to come over here as well to the UK?
Absolutely. I'm doing something in the UK actually tomorrow night, which will be really exciting. So, yeah, definitely. I love performing in the UK. It's amazing.
Good, good. Is there anywhere else in the world that you want to get to and play at some point?
Um, I guess a personal goal of mine is probably, you know, big goal is probably the Bell Center in Montreal because that's where I grew up and I grew up seeing concerts there. So that's probably like really like my personal goal.
Yeah, nice. One thing I love to find out about artists, especially when they're kind of relatively new to the music industry, is what made you get into music and do this music as well in the first place?
Um, you know, I was really fortunate when I was younger. My parents loved having music around all the time. And they loved being social, they loved hosting. So they would always have like a kind of, you know, pianist or someone in the background and would host big dinners and things. And I don't know why, but for some reason I gravitated so much towards that. And, you know, when you're 3 years old and you pick up a microphone in the little Disney costume, it's like, oh, so cute. And you bear it for one song, two songs, and you know, you probably get kicked off the mic. And I didn't. And I just kept going. And it sort of became a theme that every time there was any opportunity for me, a karaoke night, a dinner party, whatever it was, my parent school festival, my parents would put me up and kind of like push me to do something and to sing. And I had great teachers at school as well who really encouraged me to think about it as more than just you know, music class on a Wednesday. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence to go and chase that.
Yeah, and obviously knowing your parents and your brother, of course, it seems like you could have gone down any route that you would have wanted, kind of work-wise, I guess. What was it specifically about music that you gravitated to?
You know, for me, I think music makes the world go round. It's been there in the best of times and the worst of times. You know, if you want a great track to run to at the gym and you just need that extra 5%, or if you're having a really bad day and you need to either smile or cry it out in your shower, I think there's a song for you. And music's really been there for me. And as I said, when I was a kid, I loved writing. I would write stories and poems, and English lit was always my favorite class. So I think it was kind of an inevitable meeting of the two worlds when I realized that I could do this.
Yeah, for sure. And I need to touch on Formula One as well, because as a huge F1 fan, your brother's obviously Lance and your dad Lawrence as well involved in Aston Martin. I see you at quite a few of the races as well. How's this year gone? And is everyone looking forward to a positive year next year? Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Chloe Stroll to talk about her new music and more. Now, if you want to check out all of these interviews in a video form, yes, we have them on YouTube and TikTok, both edited down in little short videos. Also, the interview in full in the video form on our YouTube and TikTok pages. Search for @TheSounderLab on both YouTube and TikTok to go and find all the videos on there. Now it's time for our final interview, and it comes from Aaron Paley. You'll know him as the Yorkshire Pudding Boy, and he has a Christmas single out right now to talk all about the track and Christmas and charity too. So, Aaron Paley, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good. Yeah, good stuff. So we're having a little chat because you've released a single called All I Am. Why don't one of you tell us a little bit about the single?
Go on, Aaron, you take this away.
Mark, who is incredible, he made this song called All I Am, and I'm just lucky that I got to sing and put the message across. And it's went to an autistic charity, and I think it's a really beautiful song. It just unmasks all the secrets and all the awareness about autism.
Yeah, Mark sort of wrote the song originally for Hugo, his son. He was diagnosed last year with non-verbal autism, and he's always wanted to release a Christmas song. He's done music in the past, but we sort of thought we'll team up with him and use sort of a bit of our viral fame to get the message out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Did he come to you, and what was it like for you guys to kind of link up for this track? What was going through your minds when you were asked to do it, I guess?
Well, we've sort of been friends for a few years. So when it sort of came about, we sort of thought, yeah, brilliant, you know, in our heads. It's a 2-second job. But you don't realise till you start actually recording in the studio and everything how intensive it is. I mean, Aaron spent hours singing. Well, I mean, his sister sat there waiting for him. But no, it's a process. It's a process, but it's been a brilliant experience for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're obviously doing this for in awareness for autism and the National Autistic Society. Obviously, Mark's son, I believe, is one who's come out as who is autistic. But what's it like for yourselves trying to raise awareness for autism in this country?
Yeah, I mean, my eldest daughter, she was diagnosed autistic quite late on in her childhood, because it's one of those sort of things that it can be difficult to diagnose, because it's so many different levels of it. What everybody sort of assumed was just sort of anxiety and a bit of nervousness, and it's only sort of later childhood that she was actually diagnosed as autistic. But there is such a stigma with it, and it's so difficult to get the help that you need, especially with some of the schools. So we thought we'll all the money was always at the forefront of our mind to go towards the National Autistic Society, because they do such a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously this is a Christmas track as well. And there's a lot of big Christmas tracks around that get played every year. Are you hoping to be one of those that gets this track out there every year?
Well, it would be nice. It would be nice. So, you know, we're up against sort of Wham and everybody else. So fingers crossed we can have a bit of an impact.
Yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. And obviously we're coming quite quickly towards the end of this year. What's the plans for you guys? And of course, what's the plan for Yorkshire Pudding Boy as well for 2026?
Thanks. Well, he's going to end up with we're looking to do another song early next year. So we're going to sort of team up with Mark on that front and see where it takes us.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that. Now, you came to prominence, especially in our household, through Britain's Got Talent. Tell us a bit about the process of you getting on there and standing in front of Simon Cowell as well, dressed up in your Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah, well, they contacted us when we went viral and wanted us to go on, and then it all became a bit of a blur because Aaron was the one that was supposed to be singing, but he couldn't do it. He was poorly, so I ended up having to step into the firing line, so to speak. But it was standing backstage was just, when you're used to seeing it on the telly and you know what it looks like from the front, and you're dressed head to toe in Yorkshire puddings. It's and the lady beforehand got the golden buzzer. It made it quite an experience.
No, yeah, most definitely. And out of the two of you, one of you must have come up with the idea for Yorkshire Pudding Boy. Whose was it, and what did the other person make of it?
That was Dad's idea.
And what did you make of it when he came to you with the idea to dress you up in Yorkshire puddings?
Oh, I don't know. I was really young when it first started. I can't really remember.
And how do you feel about it now? And what do your friends at school think?
Oh, I'm just a celebrity now.
Do they love it?
Yeah, they all love it.
Because we recently did the light switch on at Southend, so we had to get another costume made while Aaron sang the song in front of 10 to 12,000 people.
Wow, that's a lot of people. So obviously going forward, Aaron, do you think you'll be singing for a long time and constantly going to be pushing music out? Is that your plan?
Hopefully.
And do you know what direction you're wanting your music to go in? Are you hoping to keep it charity based, or are you hoping to kind of get out there more mainstream?
Hopefully I'll brand out at some point. But for the minute, I like raising awareness for autism.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one question that I need to finish off with is, what happens to those Yorkshire puddings after you've worn them? Do they get eaten?
No,
The car boot's always full. But yeah, no. So with the songs out there at all major platforms, so iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. So if everybody can get involved and give us a hand, that'd be absolutely marvellous.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Aaron and James Paley. And that is the end of the show for another week, I am afraid. But don't you worry, we will be back next week with our best of 2025 show. But if you can't wait until then, social media at The Sound Lab Yes on all the socials. Check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, and make sure you go and find us on our Spotify playlist too. And we will be back next week for another episode of Interviews Unedited. Goodbye.